Hey, what's up, everybody? It's KillJS. How's it going? And I am a grumpy Raider fan. In response to Mikey Raider, the great Mikey Raider, whom is the reason why I'm even doing this, he called out all of the video makers in YouTube for Raiders to say, hey, what does a nation mean to you? And not only that, but why you put out Raider videos. And this is my answer to that. The thing about being a Raider fan, for me, everyone has a story about how they became a Raider fan. Mikey Raider went to a game with his grandfather, and he got to become a Raider fan by that. You know, the Raider Critique, another awesome individual. He became a Raider fan because he actually looked up the history of Al Davis and the Raiders. Everyone has a memory of how they became a Raider fan, except me. That's what makes the Raiders very special to me. You know, I've went through this before in a previous video that I did long ago. Do not look it up, but it was Why the Raiders, and it explained why I am a Raider fan. Don't look it up. All right, it's cringeworthy. So I guess you could say this is a more modern day version of Why the Raiders. As I said, everyone has a memory of when they became a Raider fan. But the Raiders are very special to me because of one thing. I do not remember when I became a Raider fan. I just was one. My early memory back in the day, the farthest memory I could find, that I could remember, that I could uncover in my brain, was Christmas Day, and my father, being a Raider fan, he gave us all gifts. And for my older brother, he got the San Francisco 49ers. You know, because at the time, the San Francisco 49ers was his favorite team. My dad gave me the Raiders. It was just a Raiders sweatshirt, a Raiders scarf, and a Raiders winter hat. But when I looked at it, it wasn't a surprise. It was more of me being excited because I already knew that was my team. And that's why it's so special to me of why the Raiders are that special of a team to me. You know, and growing up I believe this was around 1989. I want to say 1989, 1990. I mean, I was very small. I was small enough to comprehend what I had. But again, I was just simply a Raider fan. It's like my mom popped me out of her womb, and immediately I was silver and black. I know that it might sound ridiculous to some people, cheesy, but that is just the God's truth about it. I don't know when I became a Raider fan. I just am a Raider fan. Now, obviously, you know, it was at first I was a Los Angeles Raider fan. I definitely took great pride in the city of Los Angeles. It wasn't until they moved to Oakland that I started learning more and more. And that's the one thing that happened during my time growing up was learning more and more piece by piece of what the Raiders were. And I can tell you that it was awesome to keep learning more and more about this team. You know, I remember, I recall at one point I was living in a city called Sitka, and some Raider players actually came up to Sitka to do a charity basketball event. They went against the I believe it was the fire department, the fire and police department of no, it's actually more, no, it was the fire department of Sitka for a charity basketball game to give. They gave away a whole bunch of merchandise. They auctioned it off to people. You know, it had autographs. I do not remember what players went up to that charity event. Um, but I just know, that was the one thing that awed me, was it was the first time that I actually saw Raider fans. I mean, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it was just more and more of just growing of my love for the Raiders. Now, obviously, though, we were in the 90s. The 90s had a lot of distractions. I mean, this is when, again, growing up, you start watching other sports. You start getting other teams. I mean, for it was the early 90s. The Braves were hot. The Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, with the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. you know, I did not pay much attention to sports that much, but I made sure to pay attention enough to know what the scores were. Going in and just looking at going, did the Raiders win? If the Raiders were actually playing on TV, I would sit down and watch them. But for most of the time, though, the Raiders weren't really on TV. So when they were, I would watch them. But most of the time, I was just keeping track of the scores. And went through that whole time with there's some players that I absolutely loved. There's some players that I absolutely just loathed. Jeff Hostetler being one of them. I know a lot of people liked him, but I did not care for the guy. I didn't think he was that good of a quarterback. But moving forward, growing up, of course, the more and more I grew up, the more and more I became more invested in the Raiders. As a young kid, it was just simply, hey, are they playing? Oh, okay, what's the score? Great. It wasn't until my teenage years that I actually started trying to keep track of what they were doing. And not only that, but keep track of the players. I mean, the very first player that I was keeping track of, well, of course, was Charles Woodson. Number 24. My favorite player. My favorite Raider of all time. And yeah, I saw firsthand the Tuck Rule game. I was absolutely angry. My mom, being a Patriot fan, was ecstatic because here was this pretty boy, Tom Brady. And the Patriots were going to go move on and win the Super Bowl. And of course, moving forward, we have the Super Bowl loss that we had against the Buccaneers. My older brother, jumped a lot of his fandom jumped a lot when it came to football. He finally landed on the Buccaneers, and he stayed the Buccaneers. It wasn't until the Buccaneers got rid of the creamsicle uniforms that he decided I'm going to be a Bucs fan. Yeah, he was at one point he was a 49ers fan. He was a Bills fan. Now he's a Bucs fan. He stayed the Bucs fan ever since. But that Super Bowl came around, and you know what? I honestly was just happy to see my Raiders in the Super Bowl. And I was happy that my older brother got to win his team got to win a Super Bowl. I wasn't that selfish. But when the time came and ended, that's when I started thinking to myself, when is it my turn? When is it my turn to see the Raiders win a Super Bowl? You know, I saw the Braves win a Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl. The Braves won a World Series. I saw the Bulls win a crap ton of finals, 6 finals. I watched the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. I mean, there was a lot to take in. But that's the only thing, though. One of the things about my fandom for the Raiders, and what makes it special, is all of my favorite sports teams have won a championship, but not the Raiders. And as I've gotten older too, finally to the time where I am now, that is one of the most lingering, frustrating things about being a Raider fan. You see all of these NFL specials about how dominant we were and how we would own every single year. But then we stopped doing that. And every year I beg the question, when is it my turn to see the Raiders win a Super Bowl? Because of everything that happened, I really was in a foul mood when it came to my team. But then I always fought that. I always fought my nature of how grumpy I was towards my team. It wasn't until this previous season when all the hype behind Josh McDaniels, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, and we implode like we did. That is why I have embraced being a grumpy Raider fan. The constant hype that we are going to do good, that this is going to be the season that we do good. But the fact of the matter is, for 35 years of my life, every single year, I got kicked in the dick by this team. For 35 years. That's why I'm a grumpy Raider fan. And that's why my channel is titled that way. You know what does not make me angry though? Raider Nation. Up here in Alaska, you have a plethora of different kinds of fans. Let me tell you, in the 90s, you could not track down a Seattle Seahawks fan. You had a plethora of fans. Packers, Vikings, Bears, Cowboys, 49ers. Sprinkle in a couple of Raider fans. That was it. Did I mention also Broncos? Broncos as well. So when it came to me being a Raider fan, to see another Raider fan in Alaska, it meant the world to me. That's how I got to become best friends with a guy named Will. In high school, we met in 5th grade. He was getting into football. He became a Raider fan because he had family, relatives down in the Oakland area. But that was it. That was my one Raider fan, besides my father, that I could see and talk about the Raiders with. My best friend from high school, Will. And we talked a lot of Raiders. We did. We talked a lot of Raiders back in our high school days. It was fun. But when you branch out and you see other Raider fans in Alaska, you gotta love that. And not only that, they share the same attitude as you. Or should I say they share the same attitude as me? Where I looked at this person, he looked at me back. We both got excited and happy to see another fellow Raider fan. I have been around a lot of areas in the United States. I've even been into Japan. Imagine my shock when I walked into work when I was teaching English in Japan. I walk into work with my Raiders backpack on, and suddenly across the hall, I'm hearing a Japanese man yell out, "Raiders!" I'm turning around like, who's my new friend? And it was wonderful to talk about the Raiders, because that's our favorite team of all time. And talk about a frustrating event. Trying to capture, trying to listen to Raiders games at 3 o'clock in the morning in freaking in Japan. That was not fun. Let's move on to YouTube though. I love the Raiders so much. YouTube was hot. People were getting subscriptions and all that stuff. I at one point wanted to be a motorcycle vlogger. At one point, I wanted to drive around like the person that I was watching at the time, who was the very first motorcycle vlogger. His name is Mordeth13, also known as M13. But then I kind of looked in there. There's a whole bunch of slew of motorcycle vloggers, and I thought, oh, that's kind of boring. Then the thing clicked in my head. Why don't I just do the YouTube videos of the Raiders? Raider, recaps of the games. Possible going over news. It was one of the most frustrating things to go onto a sports network and all I want to see is stories about the Raiders. I don't care about anything else. I care about seeing sports clips and news about my team. In came Mikey Raider. Yeah, at first I was disappointed because that someone thought of it before me. It's kind of like how more recently I thought, hey, maybe I should go and completely react to the games live, only to find out that Wi-Fi Willie and all these other guys are doing it too. But I watched Mikey Raider, and I absolutely loved what he did. Back then, he did not care. He posted clips. He did all of this work to bring us Raider news. Add in the times where he would actually also give his own 2 cents about it. And the skits, the Raider recipes they made, those are awesome. Not only that, but then other things started popping up. Samoan Raider is one of them. That guy has so much love and respect for the Raiders. And he loves what he does. he is a very positive nature to the Raiders and the Raiders fandom. I love that. Another one which I gotta mention, Raider Critique. Raider Critique is a man after my own heart. He is critical about the team. And that's the thing that people, when I tell you that I'm a grumpy Raider fan, that doesn't mean that I am all negative. No. I am all critical. I will highlight the positives. But I am going to bring light the negatives. Always. Raider Critique is one of those guys. He doesn't pull punches. He doesn't drink the corporate Kool-Aid. He gives you the facts, whether you like it or not. And I respect him for that. And I am very glad that I was able to do a roundtable with him about a month or two ago. Last but not least, though, we can't move on without mentioning Murph. Murph, Swaggy Jeff, Uncle Mosh, and Michelle Sweat of Raiders Fan Radio. Taking a lighter side to the dark side. Mondays with Mikey Murph did it. I thought this guy Murph was good. I thought he was awesome, and I just couldn't help myself. I thought, let's just check out his channel, and there it was, Raiders Fan Radio, where they decided that they announced that they were going to do a Super Bowl protest because it was the San Francisco 49ers against the Chiefs. Without Raiders Fan Radio, without Mikey Raider, without Samoa Raider, without Raider Critique, my channel would not be the channel that it is now. Raiders Fan Radio did so much for me in helping bring out my creativity. All you have to do is listen to an episode, and you'll hear a phone call from mine, including the birth of Macho Man Raider Savage, the epitome, the mere image of the overly positive Raider fan. Those are the kinds of fans that annoy me. As much as I love them, they annoy me. With that, and just going around, I cannot help but be very humble and very grateful for everything. Yeah, I started out as a Los Angeles Raider fan. Once they moved to Oakland, I immediately dropped all cities. Every single city affiliation I do not care about. I am a Raider fan. I do not put any city before it. And with that, my love for Raider Nation, to know that we are a worldwide nation, and that you can reach Raider fans from all across the world due to the internet, aka YouTube. It means a lot. My previous trip to Sacramento was a staple point because I got to meet some people online. The previous version of me would have never gone out of the way to meet someone online. I am very much an introvert. I am the guy that you see at parties that is off in a corner somewhere by themselves. And the fact that with the love of Raider Nation, through the passion I have for this team, is giving me the ability to overcome my own nature to go and meet these people. Not only that, but it helps me grow as someone that does this. My channel's future is simple. What I want from this channel. I am never going to be Docs N. I am never going to be someone like Wi-Fi Willie. I am never going to be someone that has thousands upon thousands of subscribers and thousand viewers. Guarantee I'm only going to get a couple of views on this video, unless I get proven wrong. All I want from this channel is to create a community of people that have similar passions of mine, to hang out, to chat, to bounce to each other's, to everyone's channels, to talk Raiders, talk video games, talk Star Wars, you name it. I want a small community to call my own. Strong subscribers that I can appreciate. You know, go to battle for me any day of the week. I don't care about monetary value. YouTube is YouTube, and all that social media stuff. You got to put in a lot of work, and it's a full-time gig. And I don't see myself getting popular. I don't. And even if I did become popular, I'd still do this part-time as a hobby. There's no retirement in this. There's no retirement in this, and I'd rather make sure that I work and not stare in front of the screen all day. I enjoy doing this. If I start thinking about it as a job, I won't be able to enjoy this. That is why I'm a Raider content creator. I hope that answered all of Mikey Raider's questions, his challenge. Once again, I want to shout out to Mikey Raider, Samoa Raider, Raider Critique, all the guys that are in Raiders Fan Radio, and of course all to my buddies that watch this channel. Thank you very much for that. With that, I shall catch y'all later. So until then, I'm just going to continue to be, even though right now I'm feeling a lot of love from Raider Nation. It's the team that makes me a grumpy Raider fan.